Riven mods in Warframe. Such a touchy subject simply because it's quite the polarizing topic. Some players in Warframe absolutely hate these things and they don't want anything to do with them simply because the Riven mod system in Warframe is, well, let's say far from perfect. And other players consider this their endgame and absolutely love Riven mods. They have made it their own personal goal to collect as many quote-unquote perfect Riven mods as possible. Now today, my friends, we're going to be discussing this subject and I'm going to try a bit of a more gloves-off approach when it comes to these Riven mods of Warframe. On a personal note, and this is strictly subjective, not on an objective level, I don't care about Riven mods. Honestly, I don't care either way. They are not required in any way, shape or form to actually play the game or to be good at the game. If you can even be good at a game, as most of you probably know, there is a serious amount of hand-holding in Warframe, which, you know what, again, I don't really care all that much. Some players need this hand-holding and others kind of fight against it and wish for more challenging content, especially, of course, the veterans of Warframe. Now, you can say that the Riven mod system is essentially a slot machine, and you know what? You would be right. It has all the makings of a slot machine. Roll after roll after roll after roll, not knowing what you're gonna be getting. You might get something fantastic or you might get garbage. It's as simple as that. So you can spend hours upon hours farming Kuva. Kuva is the resource that we need to roll these things. And I have met plenty of players which have told me, dude, I have farmed Kuva for weeks, even months, and I still didn't get the roll I wanted on my Rivens. Look at this one, 75 rolls on this Rubico Acricon. Now, back in its heyday, this was an absolutely outstanding Riven, and don't get me wrong, it still is, as the Rubico does require bonus critical stats, and it's still the best Eidolon hunting weapon. And if you want to see more details on it, click the cards right now. Oh, and if you're too low in MR, and you just simply can't get the Rubico Prime, the normal Rubico, trust me, will do the job just fine. As you can see, the disposition shifts, at least you're going to be getting a higher dispo on the normal version. And this is one of the issues with Riven mods. They are controlled by this Riven disposition. Now, theoretically, and I stress this out so much, theoretically, this Riven disposition is controlled by weapon popularity. The more popular a weapon is, such as the Rubico Prime, because it's fantastic from all points of view, the lower the Riven disposition, the lower the little balls there. And when you have small balls, the problem is the stats are also smalls as well. But on the other hand, the less popular a weapon is, the more balls it has, the more balls you have, obviously your stats are gonna go through the roof. Who doesn't like more balls? Let's be honest here. And that's kind of the basis of the Riven system. These are individual from weapon to weapon. Once upon a time, it used to have a single Riven for the entire family of weapons. For example, you got the Baza and the Baza Prime, right? And you still have this single Riven for both of the weapons. You can still equip this Riven, but it's gonna have different, like you saw earlier, it's gonna have different dispositions. For the normal Baza, you got a free. As for the Baza Prime, you also got a free. Well, technically, they're not exactly the same, and this brings me on to another point. Take a look at this one. Even though it says 3 out of 5, and again 3 out of 5, your stats change. Hey, what gives? Actually, it's a little bit better on the normal version of the Baza. So if you want to know exactly the number of your Riven disposition, your only real option is to go outside of the game onto the wiki. I think it's called Fandom now. They changed it from wiki to Fandom, and see the actual number, which is another problem. A system that requires you to go outside of the bloody game to get your information. Nah. Now, Warframe has been characterized many times as a game that you have your wiki in alt tab. And you know what? I wish I could say it's a gross exaggeration, but it's not. That's how I learned playing Warframe, even though I had the support of my community telling me all sorts of secrets. Hey, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, and all whatnot. I still had to have wiki on alt tab while I was learning it, and the learning curve when it comes to Warframe is rather steep, so it does take you quite a while. Now, some players have argued the following. Hey, listen, reward me for my hard work, reward me for all the grind I am doing, and let me keep a stat. For example, I rolled this Vectis Seri Visicron, right? But this guy got one roll on it. Can you believe this bull? Anyway, this is not the ideal roll for this one necessarily, but I got multi-shot. Allow me to pay an amount of kuva, let's say something modical, 5 to 10,000 kuva, and let me keep that stat. Let me lock that stat into the Riven. What would be the problem in that? And then when I roll again, only let the other ones roll. Keep that multi-shot and just let the other ones roll. Oh god damn, what a bad roll. Oh damn, it went from 1 to 2. How horrible, how horrible. It's actually, I don't even know who's this Riven is, sorry. That's a good idea. From my humble point of view, that would be fantastic, and of course it would reduce the whole slot machine thing, because eventually you're gonna get all the stats you need, and your hard work has been paid off, right? All the kuva you have sunk into your Rivens. But on the other hand, you see, the more kuva you sink into a Riven, the more the dissolve value. But my friends, it's such a bullshit argument, excuse me, simply because if you spend all that time, energy, and putting in so much of your hard work and gameplay into it, to salvage it, to dissolve it, feels like you're selling your car for scrap metal. You get how that is? It's like, it's horrible. Honestly, it's a terrible system. I do not accept the counter value that, look, you have a whole lot of endo. Bullshit! You can get endo so many different ways in Warframe. Endo is not a concern. Now I know I only have 18,000, but trust Papa, I got plenty of endo to spare. I'm just too lazy to trade my stuff, or of course dissolve your Rivens. From my point of view, this is a pretty solid solution. Let me lock in a particular stat. That'd be fantastic. Now, of course, some players even say that, listen, they're not gonna allow us to do that simply because they want us to buy boosters. You buy boosters and you get more resources, therefore you can get yourself more kuva. Now, last time I checked, and please, my friends, don't shoot me because I haven't legitimately farmed kuva in a long time. Last time I checked, it was better to farm steel essence than turn it into kuva through steel path. I'm not sure if that's still the best way, but there you go. The Riven system in Warframe practically adds another depth, another layer when it comes to the modding of your weapon, because you need to understand your weapon. You need to know exactly what the sepulchrum actually needs for it to be great, which will cause you to further dive deep into the weapon, right? Understand its mechanics. Maybe it has a cool quirky gimmick, maybe it doesn't have crit, it has status instead, maybe it has a built-in element and all whatnot. So I love the idea of further amplifying the whole modding scene in Warframe. I'm all for that, but I'm not really sure that the Riven system as it is now is necessarily the best way to go about it, simply because, again, you can spend hours upon hours upon hours upon hours and get nothing in return for your own hard work. And please do not bring up endo, that's BS. On the other hand, you could say that, listen, Rivens in Warframe are entirely not needed, you can remove them entirely from the game, and I'm against that 100%, because again, there are plenty of players which have made this their endgame. They are traders, they are trading just to make their own collection or for profit or for whatever else reasons, but you cannot say that Riven mods are not interesting. You cannot say they're not desired in Warframe. So if the system works from this point of view, it should be kept in, but again, from my humble point of view, with a couple of tweaks. And as before, I am really interested in knowing what you guys think. What would you do to the Riven system to make it a bit more rewarding? You gotta still keep the coin toss element. There's gotta be an element to RNG to it. It just simply needs to have that element in order, because if you don't have that RNG element, you're never gonna have that oh my god moment. You know, you got the perfect roll on your, I don't know, 20th try or something like that. You jump off your chair, wow, this is amazing. If you take out the RNG, you also take out those epic moments, and I'm against that on a, of course, subjective level. And I do believe, my friends, that is pretty much it for today. As always, my name has been Leyzar. I'm gonna thank you guys so much for watching. Like, favorite, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the content, and by all intents and purposes, if you got any feedback for me, I would love to read it in the comment section down below, especially on Warframe's Riven system. Where do you land on the argument? You like it, you don't like it, you don't care about it, you want to see some modifications brought to it? I feel that, at least from my own limited contact with the community, players are okay with it, but it does need some revisions. Most believe that a couple of tweaks here and there are definitely needed or Warframe's Riven system. Thank you guys again, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye!